Hey, how's it going? All right, so I'm here to make my first, I guess, day one of my Enclomiphene journey. So I've been talking about this for a while. I've been waiting for medication. Finally received it last Friday. Today is July 31st, 2023. So I received it about 4 days ago. It's a Monday today. So got it Friday. Let me talk a little bit about dosage first, I guess. So I am using Peter MD, used to be Peter Uncaged. They prescribed 12.5 milligrams per day. I do know some providers just do, I think it's like 6.5 or 6.25 milligrams per day. But Peter MD likes to start at the 12.5, which is the next step up, which is good. I've heard a lot of people don't have any results at the 6.25 or 6.5, whatever it is. And so a lot of times they have to jump to the 12.5. So we'll see how this does. I think I don't think I'd go any higher than this. If for some reason this just doesn't work for me, then I will switch over to actually just on TRT. I do think that Peter Uncaged does still prescribe Enclomiphene, even if you are on TRT, if you want to, maintain fertility, not shrink your balls too much, because it does still stimulate the, testosterone production. So see how this goes. They do send you 2 months at a time, which is awesome, because when I was on Hone with Clomid, they would only send you 30-day supply at a time, and then usually there's a break. You'd lose like 3 or 4 days waiting for your medication. Peter MD, they give you 2 months worth. You can put in your next order 6 weeks before you run out. So the idea is to never have a missed dosage, which is awesome. It did take me, I'd say, they said 7 to 10 business days. It ended up taking like 12 to 13 business days before they actually shipped it. So it took over 2 weeks to get my first prescription. So make sure you take that into account. And then I will be getting my blood tests done after 12 weeks. So I'm on day 4. I just took my 4th dosage a little bit ago. So far, no negative side effects. I haven't really had headaches or anything like that. Nothing of note after 4 days of taking it. So good thing I'm not allergic to it or anything, which I know some people can be allergic to, like Clomid, and I'd assume then also could be allergic to Enclomiphene. But nothing's fancy. Little tiny pink pills, or capsules, I should say, with medication inside. Real easy to take. As far as my stats, so I did say I'd talk a little bit about where I sit today. So at my peak on Clomid, where I was feeling my best and I actually had noticeable gains in the gym again after 2 or 3 years of just kind of plateaued. I did hit a new bench PR at the time. I got my squat back up to close to where it had been. I don't squat very much. It's my weak lift. Deadlift was coming up, but my big one I was focusing on was my bench press. I'm like, if Clomid at the time works, and getting my testosterone up does help my performance, that is the lift to look at, because it hadn't been pretty much unchanged for about 3 years, my PR. So a few months into Clomid, and I did my best bench up to that point was 265. At the time when I hit 265, I think I weighed like 185 pounds. Right now I've been sitting at about 215 to 220. Right now more on the 215 side. I actually did lose a little bit of weight after coming off Clomid. Probably some water weight. I think, and maybe it's just in my mind, that I lost a little bit of size and a little bit of strength over the last 4 months that I've been off Clomid. Probably lost a little bit since my testosterone tanked back down to 300 and has probably been there for the last several months. But and then not only that, but maybe if it has nothing to do with that, just the mood in general. So like I haven't had the drive to really go to the gym like I was when I was on Clomid and testosterone was high. Like I had this motivation to go. When testosterone was down, I've had like no motivation to do anything, let alone go to the gym and work out real intense like I was doing when I was taking Clomid. So hoping for that to come back over the next few weeks. I do hear that it takes typically about 3 weeks for, or at least some of the other places say 3 weeks to double your testosterone. Whether it takes 3 weeks or not, I'm not sure. I do know when I started Clomid, after about 7 to 10 days, I started noticeably feeling better. And I was actually very, a lot of people say, hey, that's the placebo effect, potentially. But I was actually very skeptical. I did not think Clomid was going to do it for me. I was like, I've been feeling like crap for a couple years. Let's try it, see what happens. But noticeably, like mentally felt better after about 10 days. And then much, much better after a month. So, and then that continued on throughout those few months until I had to stop. My bench was at 265, peak of Clomid, I got to a 285, so I put 20 pounds on my bench press, and that was actually felt like a pretty lightweight, but going 20 pounds above my PR after a couple months, I was like, I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to come back in 6 weeks and try it again. But at that point is when I started having really bad side effects from Clomid, mainly like I talked about in a previous video. If you haven't watched it, ED can be an issue on Clomid. They don't talk about it very much, but definitely can happen. Happened to me, and that's when I stopped. I went on vacation, and then I just kind of got off my training after being off for a little bit. So I did hit 285. Told me that my testosterone coming up, like after just a few months, like I've been training hard, and I've even had some like bench press specific programs over the last couple of years, and I would keep getting back to where I was, but I could not break through that plateau. And so I'm pretty sure my low testosterone has probably been an issue for me for the last 2 or 3 years. Getting that up helped a lot. So as my thumbnail for this video, I did put a picture of my blood results. So you can go look at the thumbnail. That shows my blood results over, I think there's like 5 or 6 tests on there over the last close to a year at this point, I believe. So if you're interested, look at those. All those came from Hone. One of them, not the most recent one, but the second to most recent one was through LabCorp that Hone had put in an order for me. But the last one that I took was just a couple months ago, and that was through Hone, and it's what Peter MD used to prescribe me medication. So they did not make me do another blood test for them, but they will be requiring me to do a blood test here at the 12-week mark, and see where I am, and then go from there. A little bit about, body stats. I don't measure a lot. My legs and back is stuff like that. It's hard to measure, and it changes a lot for me. I hold water really easily. I've always been a heavier person, so I can fluctuate in weight very frequently. The one measurement that is very consistent on me that rarely changes is my arm size. So after about 3 or 4, I'd say after 2 to 3 years of lifting weights, my bicep, my flex and unflex size is actually the same, or very close to the same. Because I've always had big triceps. So my arms, as of today, my right arm is 16.5 inches flexed, 16 inches unflexed at my side. My left is 16 inches flexed, 15.5 inches at my side. So I always have a half-inch difference from right to left. Probably most people have that. It's pretty much unnoticeable. But with measurements, you can tell that. So when I was on Clomid, both of my arms got up to a little over 17 inches at my peak. So I had not had arm growth in years. And so again, that's a measurement I like to check to see, like, am I actually gaining mass, like muscle mass? Is if I, like I said, I can gain an inch and a half in my legs sometimes. And sometimes it's just water retention from having a big meal the day before, or in the gut, because I'm just prone to that. But so I'm gonna keep an eye on my arm measurements and see if they change over time. I'd like to get back over 17, maybe 17 and a half, and see if I can push it. But I don't do a lot of arm training either. If my arms are growing, it's mainly due to a back exercise. I do a ton of pull-ups. I'm really good at pull-ups. Even at 215 pounds, I can bust out sets of 10 to 12 reps on pull-ups. It's always been my best lift, if you want to call it that. There's been a lot of great comments. Some people want to see my blood results. Again, now they're in the thumbnail. You can look at them there. Ask me questions if you have any. Also, question, I saw other people are starting Enclomiphene as well, through different pharmacies or different providers. That's great. I looked at a bunch of providers. I can't remember what the one's called, but they kind of started and specialized in this. But I don't believe that they do TRT. It's like Maximus or Maximum, whatever it may be. But and they have like the King protocol, whatever they call it. Great way to start. I think they start the lower dosage of the 6 milligrams in Enclomiphene, which is fine as well if you want to start lower. But there's a potential that I'm going to have to switch over to TRT at some point in time, and if this doesn't work, then maybe sooner than later. And Peter MD is equipped for that, and can easily make that transition. So that's why I decided to use Peter MD for my Enclomiphene trial here. Let's see. Anything else I want to share? Yeah, other than that, I mean, ask any questions you may have in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Again, I work a full-time job. A lot of times it's a very stressful job. I try to work out. I try to get into the gym at least 4 days a week now, with how busy work has been. Usually I take off Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then I work out 4 days in a row, off 3 days, work 4. Just kind of go back and forth with that. If I can get another one in, I'll squeeze one in. Usually my workouts are like a heavy bench press, tricep day, then I have a leg day, and then I have another lightweight bench press, shoulder, tricep day, and then I go to my deadlifts and have a deadlift day, and I'll throw in some back with that. Also on my bench press days, I always like to throw in some type of back workout, whether it be a row after I'm done with my bench presses, or pull-ups or something like that, just to kind of engage the back after pushing forward. It's nice to work chest and back sometimes, and the pumps on those days are the best. So I will be getting back on an actual structured program like I was doing when I was on Clomid. So I'll let you know which one I end up picking for that. I have a couple that I've used in the past that have done really well for me. I'll probably pick one of those and start running it and staying consistent with it. So hopefully get consistent on my diet. And yeah, see how things go. Again, day 4, nothing to note as of yet, which I wouldn't expect to at this point. I'll probably make another video here in about a week. Give my updates on that. Again, ask any questions you may have. Have a good rest of your day. Talk at you later.